See if I can pull this off.
All right, that was not as smooth as I wanted it, but welcome in. Latest episode, That SEC Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. Go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And that there is Cousin Shane, who was talking right through that, who goes by Big Orange Vols on Twitter. What's up, yo, Tissy Homer?
Hey, babe, what's going on?
Oh, man, we were just talking off air. It's been a rough one for both of us. We are literally coming off naps. But that's spring football for you. That's a show like this for you. Shane's drinking. I don't drink. I do drink, but not often on the show. I'm doing it this one, buddy, because I need this one to just to get through it. You know what?
Just get the juices flowing. That's the problem. I had a couple of them earlier, and you know how it is, man. It's almost like golf was on, you know, and even the golf wasn't on. I was just watching mindless television. I was like, you know what? I've got an hour. Let's go ahead and do it. I kind of wish I didn't do it, but hey, we're here. Hey, 1 hour closer to college football kickoff, brother. You know?
Right. And hey, Shane, my bad. I forgot. You ran a very scientific poll. What was it? All weekend long, I think it was. SEC coach with the most punchable face. I stayed out of that because about half these damn guys follow me. I don't need them knowing, you know, thinking I want to punch them in the face or anything like that. But
to be 100% transparent, I did not cast a single vote, so they can't get mad at me either. You know, I got this idea last week. You know, after the tournament, somebody said something, and I can't remember which coach it was, but it wasn't an SEC coach. But I was like, golly, this guy's annoying. I'd like to punch him in the face. And then I got to thinking, I was like, you know, I wonder who is the most punchable SEC. Now I had my idea. You know, I knew kind of where it may go. But a little surprised. This year's
wait, so I got the graphic. You want me to throw it up here?
Yeah, please.
I prep, Shane. I'm not like you. I prep for this damn show. Here's the results, the final results of the show here. If you're just listening, Shane Beamer, runaway winner. He beat out Eli Drinkowitz in the finals. But can you explain a little bit to the audience? Maybe they missed some of this. How you did the polling and things of that nature?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did the all 16 coaches and kind of put them in tiers, which what I thought would kind of be the result. And it ended up being the top four there with Beamer, Kiffin, Drink, and Kelly down there, you know, all very, very heavy pollers. I mean, it's like those guys like stole the show kind of deal. Now, the problem...
It was basically a four-man competition is what you were telling us, huh?
Yeah, and to be... I don't know if this is a little more skewed than it should be because you got to remember, this came from my account. Oh, yeah. and my account's got maybe a little bit more orange shade than most. So I kind of knew where some of this list was going to go, but yes, it came down to Drink and Shane Beamer, and Shane Beamer walked away this year's 2024 SEC's most punchable face, and by a pretty good margin. I think it was 60-something%. So I'm eager to see. Now, I'd love to see where Jimbo would have been last year. You know?
Yeah.
So that one kept getting mentioned. We had another poll, Mike. It was SEC Podcast's most punchable face, and you barely won that one. So,
hey, how about Cousin Danny? Shout out, you know, during the season, he's probably our best commenter. Love to see him back in the comments. He says, I nearly punched the screen just now out of pure instinct. So that's a good one right there. You know what?
Oh, and for those audio listeners, slow down, get back below the speed limit. I know that your blood gets boiling when we talk about certain coaches, but hey,
yeah,
Mike,
I think this poll, we would have got different results depending on what happened, you know, if we ran this during the season, because there's so much hatred and vitriol for any coach at any given time. You know what?
Yeah, and it's so funny because I still get tagged in these things, like just the results happen. And then all of a sudden, someone realizes that they missed the voting and they cannot believe they didn't get a shot to vote for Kelly or a shot to vote for Sarkisian. That every fan has a punchable face out there. It's just, it came down to Beamer and Drink, and Beamer won it this year.
Hey, shout out Cousin Wesley. Shane, he gave us $10. Appreciate you, Cousin Wesley. Every time I hear DeBoer talk, he becomes more punchable. That's Wesley talking, not me, but that's a good one.
Well, let me ask you, Mike, because I think what it boils down to is hated coaches. Is there one in particular you could see moving up this list? Because you could argue Nick Saban was up there just because of all the games he won and things like that. Is there maybe a coach or two that you may have your eye on for 2025?
Oh, yeah, Shay. There's one, and I think they already know. They think I'm already out to get this man. Steve Sarkisian. But I'll tell you, it could be for a different reason, because maybe the Texas comes into this league and dominates like they think they are, like those fans think they are. And if that happens, you better believe. The hatred's going to turn on them Longhorns and Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, I could definitely see that one moving up. It's the comments after the game too. It's like,
right.
It's one thing if you win, but if you beat somebody's ass and then you come out and say, like, Drink standing on business, it's just something like that. Just kind of amps the hatred toward that particular coach.
Right. And hey, one other thing, real quick, Shane. Want to shout out Mizzou. Got these renderings here. I'm throwing up anybody that missed it, but this has got to be the first time, Shane, that I can recall where I share something that is like just one of the SEC teams involved. And I would say consensus, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating here. I'd say 95% of the feedback I've received has been positive on the North End Zone. And usually, Mizzou, people love to make fun of them and the rocks and this and that and what have you. But again, I'm telling you, 95% of the people that I saw, they're loving this. And the only people that are hating it, I think, are mad because their stadium now is not as nice as this.
Yeah, I get it. And that's one of the things, you came over, Texas A&M, it was a little while. They got theirs worked on. Now we got Mizzou following suit here. The thing I like about it, Mike, is it just looks more SEC-ish.
Right.
I don't know if that's a word or not. Obviously it's not, but I do like the fact that it looks different. And when you look at some of these stadiums, you could drop me in about 40% of the stadiums in this country, and you remove all logos, and they'd be like, I don't know where the hell I'm at. They all kind of look the same. Mizzou's got a different flair to it, and that's what I like about it because it's different. It's kind of like not comparing it, but like an NFL. They always try to be a little bit different, and that's what Mizzou's got to capitalize on.
Cousin Nima says Mizzou will finish their stadium before Vanderbilt finishes. and just to be clear, they just put these renderings out today, so
yeah, this
ain't going to be done right around the corner or anything. I apologize. I probably should have looked it up, but I don't think this is going to take forever or anything. But to my understanding, this is like a $350 million project, so a lot going into it. But I was trying to make this point via text, Shane, that I think Missouri, again, I know people like to make fun of them. They're newish they're no longer the new kids in the SEC, but they're newish. They don't have the long-standing history. No, Arkansas doesn't even view that as a rivalry and all that. But I think you can make the case that Missouri is doing everything. They're pushing all the right buttons to become a football power in the SEC, embracing NIL, making a right hire at head coach in Eli Drinkwitz, and just getting more talent in there. Just had 11-win season. We think they can do something similar this year. And given the schedule the SEC just gave them, who knows? Maybe back-to-back-to-back 10-win type seasons with this new project. Basically, they're putting all the pieces together, brother, to where you may have been some validity to calling out Missouri in years past, but moving forward, they are handling this new era of transfer portal and NIL as well as anybody, and they're capitalizing on it.
It's perfect time, perfect storm. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good, and when you're on the good side of things, this is where money starts to show up all of a sudden. You know, it's like when you're having a good day and then all of a sudden you find a $20 bill just laying on the ground. It's like, oh man, can it get any better than this? Then you get to work, there's a pizza party. Oh, my boss loves me. You know, does it get any better? That's the cycle Mizzou is in right now. They're starting to win. They're starting to accomplish things, and people get excited. And when they're excited, they give money. And then next thing you know, we got a stadium remodel coming in. We've got recruits finally getting paid through NIL. It's like this everywhere. Ole Miss, look at all the money they collected for NIL. Look at Arkansas. They want to be good. So what they do, they go out and they hire a top-tier coach. Jerry Jones wants to get involved. The Waltons are getting involved. You know, people want to spend money for their universities, but they want to spend it to be good.
Right, and I think that's an important point. I was going to note too, Shane, that again, I'm not trying to discredit Missouri, but this is the power of being in the SEC, and this is why we get so damn mad at Vanderbilt. Again, we're not expecting them to be overnight successes or anything, but you put in the resources, you could be a lot better than what you were. Mm-hmm. And this is why when, they're talking about Super League, the SEC is a Super League, in my opinion. This is why the Kentuckys, the South Carolinas, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Missouri, teams that 10 years ago, maybe you didn't have an avenue to reach a BCS national championship, a 4-team college football playoff. You put those resources, you make the right hire, you get your alumni involved, you can turn this thing around pretty quickly. Because just a year ago, Shane, we were not saying these things about Missouri. It can happen quickly, but it takes a village to do it. But if you're in the SEC, you got a fighting chance.
Yeah, that's it. Fighting chance. And you got that Disney money coming in. You know what I'm saying? That don't hurt either, brother.
All right, Shane. So, hey, we're going to we had a good time on the last episode debating some betting lines. A little cousin feuding here, and I thought that'd be fun to do on this episode. And then, of course, we got some spring games on Saturday. So when we close it out, I just want to highlight a couple things that I'll be looking for this Saturday. I think we're going to learn more this Saturday, even though we got fewer spring games than what we did last Saturday, given that we have South Carolina, A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, and Mississippi State concluding spring football in the SEC come Saturday. But I sent you over.
I'm sorry. Have you heard anything about Texas? Because somebody was saying something about the weather was going to be really bad. They may call it off. Have you heard anything about that game?
No. I mean, I put that out there too, but I don't know. I don't watch the weather in Austin. I mean, you're asking the wrong guy if that's what you want. Weather permitting for a lot of those. You know what?
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're the worst weather guy. Yeah.
All right. So, hey, betting line debate. Mm-hmm. Now, Shane.
Yeah.
I don't think you understood the assignment because you were supposed to send me your lines, but we'll see. Because I'm just going in order of where these games land on the football calendar. So if it's week 1, we're going to do that one first, and we're going to go all the way to rivalry weekend. I got 11 games here. We may agree on some of these. I was hoping we disagreed on all of them, but we'll see. So let's start, Shane. Week 3. Mm-hmm. Season's going to be ramping up. Florida Gators hosting my Texas A&M Aggies, apparently, all of a sudden. And again, the exercise I'm trying to do here, Shane, is not who is the betting favorite. We're doing this April 18th. Not who is the betting favorite April 18th. We're saying come September 14th, right before kickoff, who is going to be favored to win this football game? Texas A&M at Florida. Who do you think will be favored come that kickoff time in that matchup?
I think A&M will by little. And by little, I mean maybe 2.5 points.
Wow. Okay, so hey, basically I'm gonna do this on the fly, Shane, but I disagree with you.
Oh, okay.
And I could quickly tell you how we could get to there because again, A&M, they opened the season against Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Some people are saying Notre Dame's top 10. I have no idea if they are or not, but let's assume they are. You lose that one, you bounce back and crush McNeese. Florida spins it around. They beat Miami. They beat Sam. They're going to be undefeated at home Florida Gators, baby. They're gonna be favored. I'm trying to warn all y'all. I know you're burying Billy. Florida Gators gonna go 2-10. Our buddy Jake Wimberly. That's crazy. That's crazy talk, Shane. If they could beat Miami, get off to a hot roll, they're gonna be favored against the Aggies at home. Now, if it was at Texas A&M, maybe I'd change my mind. But it's in Gainesville.
Well, per last show, per Michael Wayne Bratton, I was told that Texas A&M is going to be rostering a pretty sweet team this year. And I think I was convinced, Mike. I'm going to say in that argument, you got me kind of leading. And Aggie fans don't want to hear this. Aggie fans do not want to hear me starting to get back on the bandwagon because I'm trying to pull back because I think there will be some growing pains. But week 3 against the Florida Gators, I think they come in 2-0. I think there's a real shot that they're looking at a 1-1 Florida Gators. And the wheels are already starting to fall off. So, yeah, I do. I wouldn't be surprised if A&M's not favored by a touchdown leading into this one here.
Cousin Ken says Cousin Shane might be a walk in that. But do you see where I'm getting at? Where I think Florida could be favored. And again, I know it's like a running joke, but I mean, Billy Napier better damn win that game because you can't. Year 3 at home against I think A&M's going to be really good, but you just can't be losing to year 1 coach who's never coached as a head coach in the SEC in his first SEC game. That will just be a sign to everybody that Billy ain't cutting it, and Mike Elko's a better coach than you. And hell, I mean, Florida. Surely they could have hired Mike Elko when they hired Billy Napier. You know what I mean? So that's it feels like a must win for Napier.
Well, and Billy's saying the right things. I'm hearing the right things from camp. It's not a building anymore. That's what we kept hearing with Billy Napier, and I think that's why we got so frustrated. It's a built system now. Now it's a fine-tuning system. So that's what we need to see week 1. Just come out here, kick the teeth into the Miami Hurricanes. And then when we roll into A&M, we got a team that is already galvanized and ready to win in the SEC. But again, we're coming off 2 terrible years, and I'm just not convinced that, all right, this is the offseason, they get it figured out.
Right. And then Danny's got the most important question that we're going to have this entire show, Shane. Are you locking any of these up now? Because
hell no.
We got bet the other side if you are.
No. But I know Florida Gator fans, they're happy I'm going this way. Texas A&M fans probably a little nervous that I'm starting to lean in on them.
Yeah. All right, how about this one? I think you're going to like this one, Shane. This will be week 4.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee at Oklahoma. Again, I went with games I feel like are, clear toss-up type games. Mm-hmm. But you look at who Oklahoma's got, all home games, first month of the season. They should cruise to 3-0 heading into this matchup against Tennessee. Tennessee, meanwhile, 2 very easy games. One, the more people I talk to about NC State, they think NC State's a tricky team. I think they're going to be preseason top 25, Shane. Mm-hmm. So, this is not a layup. But let's just assume Tennessee wins that one. If both of them are undefeated, Norman, Oklahoma, Josh Heupel return, who's a betting favorite? Texas at Oklahoma.
You mean Tennessee? So Tennessee at Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'd go Tennessee Volunteers 6.5 on this one, brother.
Oh, my God. 6.5.
6.5. Mainly because of the ass kicking that they're going to do. Because this is good. This is good for Tennessee Vols. People talking about NC State, talking them up. It's going to be a ball game. If they walk away with a 3-score touchdown lead, going into Oklahoma, they're going to say, damn, them Tennessee Vols are legit. And I'm not saying Oklahoma's not. They got an easy road too. But I just think coming into that matchup, when you look pros versus pros, cons versus cons, Vegas is gonna lean in a little bit more toward them Tennessee Vols, and like I said, a little bit under a touchdown.
Yeah, it seems like the comments they heavily agree with you, Shay. Tennessee all the way, but I'm telling you guys, I got that Oklahoma koozie for a reason here.
You knew I was going there, didn't you?
I don't know, Shay. I think it'll be a huge game for Oklahoma. SEC opener, of course.
Yeah.
So much on the line. And I can't get this out of my head, Shane, now that we had Chris Marler on recently, and he called Venables Skeletor.
Oh, God.
So every time I look at the guy, but he's going to come into like Skeletor with a vengeance, Shane, to prove his defense is legit. His defense versus Heupel offense. I don't know. This is close to a pick 'em, but the fact you went with Tennessee, I guess I got to go with Oklahoma. Not by much. 6 points, that's a little rich for my blood. Is that what you said? Tennessee favored by
6.5.
6. Oh, on the road. Come on, brother. Give me Oklahoma, I think, will be favored by 2. Only because of home field advantage.
Oh, buddy. I mean, this one is going to be a marquee game, and it is strength versus weakness, it feels like, in this game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
what Oklahoma's really good at defending, Tennessee's really good at going. And then you look at that offensive line of Oklahoma against Tennessee's defensive line. It's just like, man, there's going to be some mistakes being made on both sides of the ball. But, yeah, short of just anxiety, I mean, you got a young quarterback going on the road. You know, there's going to be some youth that may get exposed from the Tennessee Vols that maybe aren't used to a loud crowd like Oklahoma. So, I mean, there's some of that going on, but I don't know. I just think leading up to that game, the reason that Tennessee would be favored just because of what they'll put on the board prior to.
And the King Ricky, I think I screwed that up, but he said, Shane, I literally made $1,000 betting against you last year. I appreciate you. That's worth a donation right there.
That's why he's been donating so much. He's slowly giving it back to me.
All right, how about this one, Shane? I think you're going to like this one. Speaking of the Sooners, very next week. Tough matchup. On the road, their first road matchup in the SEC. Oklahoma at Auburn. Auburn, as long as they take care of business against Arkansas, which is also at home. I don't know how in the hell Auburn got 5 consecutive home games to start the season, but they did. Who do you think you would favor in this matchup? Oklahoma at Auburn.
Oh, man. After Oklahoma comes off a top 10 loss, I think they bounce back. I think they bounce back here, and Vegas knows they get to see the talent. And it's nothing against Auburn. I think Auburn's got a real opportunity to start out the season extremely strong, especially with all those home games. But I think when you're looking at that betting line, it's going to be tough not to give Oklahoma the edge. And when I say the edge, I mean maybe 2 points. I don't think it's going to be by a lot because we all know how wild and crazy Jordan Hare gets, and we know how big these games become for Coach Hugh Freeze in these moments. But I just think that if you're gambling, Oklahoma's going to get the favorite here.
Well, let me tell you why you're wrong, Shane. Again, I'm no Hugh Freeze defender out here, but again, I mean, my goodness, look at this schedule, and you said it yourself. You think Tennessee's going to whoop Oklahoma. So, I mean, I anticipate Auburn being undefeated. Now, maybe Oklahoma, just by virtue of giving your Vols a tight game, maybe they'll give them a boost in the betting line and whatnot. But I don't know. I think if Auburn's undefeated and Oklahoma has a loss, I anticipate Auburn would be a slight favorite, not a huge favorite, but a slight favorite before they get into that murderer's row the next couple weeks of the season. But yeah, I mean, this one I could kind of go either way. I was really hoping you'd say Auburn. I got to be truthful here, but I could see either one of these teams being favored. I really could.
You think it could be a push by the time we get there? And I didn't say Tennessee would kill Oklahoma. I said 6.5 here, so it's not one touchdown win, in the final drive or something. Nico.
1 mile for every dog. No. All right, how about this one? I can't. This could be the game of the year, Shane. I mean, there's so many damn good games in the SEC this year. But how about this one? Right smack dab in the middle of the season here. Ole Miss at LSU, October 12th. Again, this was just an epic game last year. Well, not if you like defense, but if you like offense, this was one of the best games of the entire season last year. LSU's got to show something on defense. I think Ole Miss, quite frankly, Shane, will be a lot better on defense as well. So, I mean, this is another one. I could go either way. Who would you lean come kickoff, October 12th, Ole Miss at LSU. Who do you think is going to be favored in that matchup?
Oh, buddy. I think you're going to easily go the opposite way here, but I think by this moment, and that's the key. Again, we're not talking April. We're talking when this thing comes out, I think LSU's humming. And I think Death Valley's coming, and they know that they've got their number. Vegas knows it. So give me LSU favored by 7.
Oh, I'm going to pull up that schedule real quick again. LSU. Yeah, I mean, heck, you're right. I mean, if they take care of business, of course, they haven't won a damn opener under Brian Kelly. But if they can do that, they should. I mean, this got to be the year, right?
Yeah, it's got to be the year.
Beat them. Our buddy Stephen Lasson said UCLA is going to be terrible this year. So that should be an easy landmine at South Carolina. Cannot overlook that. But still, you gotta lean LSU there. I mean, you might have a great point, Shane. Undefeated heading into that matchup.
Well, before you say it, bring that back up, because I think it's signature wins. That's what's key here. When you look at USC, when you look at UCLA, these are not two good ball programs, but the country will be watching these two teams play because they have that brand recognition. And if LSU destroys them, which I expect them to do, I think when Ole Miss comes to town, there's a really good shot that Ole Miss is ranked higher, but LSU will be heavily favored, and you'll be like, well, that makes no sense, but that's because body of proof up to this point on October 12th.
Well, let me let the listeners in on a little secret. Shane has still got it in the back of his mind. Lane Kiffin leaving in the middle of the night.
Punchable face. He's number 1 on my list. No.
Give me them Ole Miss Rebels, because, everything you said I agree with LSU, but you look at Ole Miss, heck, I think they'll probably be undefeated too, as long as they take care of Kentucky at home and at South Carolina.
What a schedule, man! What a schedule! Furman, MTSU, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, then Kentucky, South Carolina leading up that one. You're right. There may be some 30-point wins right there.
So this may be a showdown of two undefeateds.
Yeah.
And this will be kind of a matchup that is going to put one team perhaps in a driver's seat to make the SEC championship. So, I would anticipate college game day, big-time atmosphere, Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, but give me them Rebels, brother. I mean, I get it. If it's on the road, so not by much, maybe by 1 or 2, because this is going to be one hell of a matchup.
All right, hey, let me ask you this. I know it's early, but Ole Miss wins that game, wins out, and goes down there and beats LSU. After that game, what will they be ranked?
If they beat LSU?
Yeah, if they win out and on October 12th they knock out, going into that Oklahoma matchup, what do you think Ole Miss will be ranked?
It's funny, Shane, because I know we talk a lot about the NCAA video game. You remember, like, when you do a dynasty 10 seasons deep, and you'd be like, what? Tulane is number 2 in the country. Who in the hell have they played? It was usually Furman, MTSU, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern. But that's not the way it works in real life, Shane. So, again, I don't think they move up much. Well, I mean, beating LSU, you'd move up. But, so if they're undefeated, probably not. I think they're closer to number 5 than they are number 1, if that makes sense. And I only, because I think Ole Miss is going to start top 10 anyway. But I don't think anyone's going to give them much credit until November 9th. I think that's what everybody's going to be waiting for.
But I think it's the fashion that they win these games, because I just have a gut feeling that Lane Kiffin is going to just hang some 30-point games on these dudes. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden
style points.
That's exactly right. Just like NCAA video games. And then after an LSU win, if that happens, I think you're looking at a top 3 program.
Man, he's jumping on the LSU bandwagon. I love it.
Oh, not LSU. No, I'm saying if they beat LSU,
right.
I think Ole Miss will be. I think LSU's got a longer road to get to the top 5. I mean, they'll get there. I would imagine, if they keep winning, but it's not after an Ole Miss win.
Right. All right. Let's test your Mizzou love here, Shane, because there's one game here. I was trying to throw you off again, and it's that 8th game of the year.
Ooh.
On the road at Alabama, October 26th. If they can get over A&M on the road, if they can beat Auburn at home, you got to love Mizzou's chances to be undefeated heading into Bryant-Denny Stadium. Meanwhile, Alabama will have played at Wisconsin, Georgia at home, South Carolina at home, at Tennessee. Man, that's a lot tougher road for Alabama. So who would you favor in this matchup? Mizzou at Alabama.
Well, I'll tell you right now, there'll only be one undefeated team in Tuscaloosa that day. And they ain't wearing red, Mike. Oh, hell. I mean, there's a real shot. Alabama is got 2 losses by this time. You got Tennessee,
right.
You got Georgia. And coming off the Tennessee game right before at LSU, we talked about this potentially being a trap game. But it's all about optics, Mike. And it's all about that damn dark cloud that hangs out down there in Tuscaloosa. There's just something about the aura. When you pull in, you're just like, I know we should win, but will we win?
Right.
And by this time, I think Vegas thinks Mizzou will win. So give me Mizzou favored by 1 point in Tuscaloosa.
I love that logic, Shane, and I can't disagree with it. But I would say, I realize Nick Saban's not there anymore, but those damn linesmen, they know that the betting public.
You talking about the refs? Is that what you said?
The betting public, not the diehard SEC fan, but the betting public, they're going to look at that. They won't even regard the records or the rankings. They'll say, Missouri Tigers at Alabama. What the hell? Alabama's going to be favored to win that football. Not saying they'll win it, but I think they will be. But, I think people that actually know what they're talking about, like you, I think they will kind of lean towards Missouri in that matchup if they're undefeated, if they can hold it together, if Alabama drops a game or two leading up to that. But I would also spin it the other way, Shane. I mean, this could be the start of an Alabama run where they got their backs against the wall and say, hey, we cannot afford to lose another one. This is when they could rally the troops, so to speak. So another potentially classic game, October 26th in Bryant-Denny. You know what?
Well, and I mean, me talking about beating Alabama like it happens often here in Knoxville. So, there's also that shot they win that game. There's a shot they win Georgia. There's a real opportunity. Alabama is undefeated at this point. There's a lot of question marks floating around there, and I think that's where I'm kind of leaning a little more into I think Alabama's got a great football team. It's just going to take a little while to get there, and unfortunately, they don't have the runway that some of these other programs have. So one loss even, I just don't. I can't find that one loss with Mizzou. I'm just all in on them right now, especially in the front half of their schedule. So that's why I've got them just by a little bit.
How about Cousin Danny here? Another fire comment here, Shane. I'm just curious if you agree. Nico, he said, is a better quarterback than Milroe. You got to remember, Milroe won an SEC championship.
Yeah.
Finished, I think, 6th in the Heisman voting, and Nico has started one game. I love the passion, but
I got to give Milroe the edge just right now.
Right.
I mean,
could Nico be better?
Right.
Sure, but today, I mean, that's a wild comment.
Yeah. I mean, the upside. That's the thing. I think Nico has a higher ceiling than Milroe does, but unfortunately, the floor is a little higher with Jalen than it is Nico right now.
Right. All right. Hey, that same weekend, Shane. How about this matchup? This could be a good one too. LSU at Texas A&M, October 26th. By your count, LSU, at worst, probably a one-loss team. So what would they be here? 6-1. Meanwhile, A&M. Ooh, a lot of tricky games here, Shane. Notre Dame, at Florida, Arkansas, Mizzou at home. Leading up to this LSU, I mean, this is another one. Could go either way. LSU could be flying high. A&M could be struggling, or they could be. You could convince me A&M's undefeated. I think that's asking a lot for a first-year coach, but they've certainly got the talent. So LSU at Texas A&M, October 26th. Who would you favor in that one?
I'm going to go LSU, and we're going to say 7.5 here.
Oh,
yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot you hate A&M. I'm sorry. I totally forgot. No, that makes sense. I do think LSU will likely be favored, but maybe I kind of put this one as a little bit of a cheat because I think this is the type of game, Shane, where I think Mike Elko, you can kind of prove that you're an elite coach. These are the games Jimbo didn't win when he's a touchdown underdog. You got 100,000+ fans. It's one of the best environments all of college football, and they just came up short time after time after time under Jimbo, short of one Alabama victory. You know what I mean? So, I agree with you. I think LSU should probably be favored. They're further along, better overall team, perhaps. But I think it's an opportunity for Mike Elko to steal one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, opportunity. I get that. But again, we're talking about a program that's still got a lot of holes, a lot of question marks. LSU has just done it. They've done it the last 2 years, and it's not like they've been playing cupcake schedules. They've been going through the West there. And I just think that going into that matchup, LSU top to bottom will be further along than Texas A&M. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be a ball game, and I'm not saying the Aggies can't win the thing. I'm just saying Vegas will think that LSU is gonna be the heavy favorite here.
Right. All right. How about this one, Shane? A little curveball here, not on the radar.
Is this number 5? Real quick, I just if you don't mind, guys, I want to do it the halfway mark. The likes, if you could close the comments and give us a like, that really helps us out on the YouTube channel. We're really trying to get to 20,000 before kickoff subscribers. So appreciate everybody that's already clicked on those links, and it truly does help us out. So I just wanted to get that out there before I pissed off the other half of the fan base. Is Mike.
All right, how about this one, Shane? Again, this not on a lot of people's radar, I wouldn't think, to kick off the season, but this will be a big one for both these fan bases, I would imagine. Same weekend, October 26th, Arkansas at Mississippi State. I think both fans, it'll be unacceptable to lose this game. So that's kind of why these are my favorite type games, where we demand a win here. The road is a lot tougher for Mississippi State. They get it at home. They beat Arkansas last year. Hell, I mean, but the road for both of them is just it's just a damn gauntlet. But each program desperate for a win come October 26th. And who would you favor in this matchup, you think, by kickoff? Arkansas at Mississippi State.
Yeah, you would think Mississippi State because it's at home, but I think Arkansas, even though they also have a tough schedule leading up to this one, I think their games are closer. I think there's going to be a few more blowouts with Mississippi State here, and that's why I've got Arkansas favored here by, I would say 4 or 5 points. Let's say 4.5.
Which I don't disagree with you, Shane, but if that's the case, is Mississippi State going to be favored in any SEC game? Which I guess the only one we'll see what happens with Florida. Florida could have 2 losses by then, and State could be 2-1 or 3-0. Maybe that's the one. But if they're not favored against Arkansas, they're probably not going to be favored against a single SEC team. Would you say that?
No, I think September 21st against the Florida Gators. I think there's a real shot they start out 3-0, but that's fool's gold, man. You know what I'm saying? I think that as this season moves along, because you're talking about week 6, and one of the things that Mississippi State really doesn't have much of is competitive depth. And when those injuries start kicking in, it's going to be really tough on the back half of that schedule, mainly on that defense, because they're going to be living on that football field. So I like Arkansas here just because of the depth. Plus, little flashes I saw in spring. I'm starting to buy into Pittman and company. They know. Everybody's dubbed Ole Miss as the last dance. By God, the last dance is in Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? This is the last shot here if Sam's going to retain that job. So they're going to have to play like their hair's on damn fire.
Cousin Anthony says Petrino will lose that game just so he can be the head coach and take over. But I think you're right. I got to lean Arkansas on that one just until we know what Mississippi State is. We just, quite frankly, we don't know. All right, how about this one, Shay? We've talked a lot of Alabama, LSU so far, but this will be the final one. Alabama at LSU, November 9th. This is one circled on my calendar, Shane. I brought it up 2 shows in a row, I believe. But I just think the implications for this game are huge. Mm-hmm. This is a game Alabama just expects to win. I think this is a game LSU fans demand to win. When it's at home, now that Nick Saban's retired, there's going to be some angry-ass fans to whoever loses this game. Who would you favor, Alabama at LSU this season?
Oh, man, I just sound like I hate the Tide that much, but give me LSU Tigers. I just think that they're a little further along than Alabama is here. Now, this is a team, again, they've got the roster. They can definitely surprise us, but we're talking about going to Death Valley, and I'm going to give a slight edge to the LSU Tigers, 3.5 here.
Oh, buddy.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm struggling to find a way to tell you, but
yeah, I like to force Mike to say something positive about Alabama.
Yeah, let's do that. Hey, the offense comes around. Jalen Milroe, biggest breakout star in the SEC, year 2 as a starter, first year under Caleb DeBoer. I think people are sleeping on the Tide here, Shade. I don't think the defense is going to be that good, but hell, I think the way LSU's defense is, I think Alabama will have a real opportunity to this could be one of the highest scoring games in the SEC. Right. LSU defense, I think Alabama's defense will take a step back without Nick Saban. So give me them Tide. Come on, man. They'll surprise people. And again, the casuals, the people that don't live and die this stuff, they're going to look at the names, Alabama, LSU. They're going to say, hell, Alabama beats LSU 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, whatever it is. Give me Alabama. So I think Alabama's maybe like a 1-point favorite, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm glad that you hit on the points because I'm going to hammer the over here because I do think that there is also a lot of points scored in this game. This ain't your Miles and Saban's. This ain't the 13-7 games. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be high. It's like the first of 50 wins this one.
Right. All right. How about Georgia, Shane? Not a team we've hit on here, but I was struggling to come up with a way where they wouldn't be a favorite. I guess you could say at Alabama, but they're already installed as a touchdown-type favorite, I believe. At Texas, I think they're even the betting favorite at Texas. That could change come kickoff. We'll see. That wouldn't surprise me. But the one I have circled here, Shane, and I know you hate Lane Kiffin, but damn Ole Miss Rebels hosting Georgia, revenge game in Oxford. I mean, there is a realistic chance here, Shane, that Ole Miss is undefeated or one loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Georgia, they could have a couple losses. I don't think it's likely, but they could. They could have one. I mean, this could be 2 one-loss teams. This could be a battle for a shot at the SEC championship. Georgia at Ole Miss. Who's favored in that game come November 9th?
Yeah, it's kind of tough because Kirby doesn't like to lose during the regular season too often, So
it's been about 4 years.
Yeah. So just to say, nonchalant that it's going to happen, I do think that Georgia has some tricky games. Bama being one. I think the argument. I see where you're going with Ole Miss. I mean, you could say Texas. There may be a chance that Texas is undefeated at this moment, but let's go with Ole Miss and let's just say for the hell of it, they beat LSU. They're sitting there. I told you they're top 3. In October. Mm-hmm. So there's if Georgia stumbles, I think there's maybe an opportunity for them to be favorite, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going Georgia regardless. Georgia here. I'm going to go we'll make it close. I'll say 9.
Well, I was trying to trap you. I was trying to trick you. But yeah, you got to favor Georgia to win that football game, and I'm not saying they will, or it's a lock or anything like that, because I think Ole Miss is. I think they're going to be dynamic, Shane. But that is kind of the one I've got circled. But that is also the problem with facing Georgia, facing Kirby. There's no games they don't, where they no show, but it's like you got to be like 4-8 South Carolina to catch them napping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
10-0, 11-0 Ole Miss, whatever the hell they would be. You're not getting Georgia off guard on that one. That's one where Georgia goes into it and they say, all right, we beat them.
Yeah.
We're the number 1 seed in the playoff. You know what I mean? So Georgia will be locked in that day.
Yeah, pull up Ole Miss's schedule one more time. One of the knocks on Lane Whiffen, as you like to call him, is he's not had that big win. And when you're looking at this schedule, is that it? Is that the only one on here that you think would cement or at least take the step toward Lane Kiffin actually being one of the best coaches to do the thing in the SEC ever? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
we look back. I've remembered a ton of games where Lane Kiffin was close, or he's but I just we need the big win. And even as sexy as LSU win would be, as an Oklahoma win would be, November 9th against the Georgia Bulldogs. That's it, right? That's the trophy, right?
Well, I think beating LSU at LSU would help go a long way towards that.
Yeah.
But I think there's more pressure on Lane Kiffin not to blow any of these other games.
Oh, okay.
Because even if let's say it's some miracle, I don't know how this would happen, but let's say he beat LSU in Georgia, but he lost to like Wake Forest or Kentucky. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That to me is a Lane Kiffin move. You know what I mean? And I think them beating Georgia is a very, very, very outside shot. So let's chalk up a loss to that one. But maybe the point is better, like if they beat LSU, then they turn around and lose
to Oklahoma
or Arkansas. Like our buddy Hot Rod says, hey, Lane Kiffin's not won in Fayetteville. I mean, these are the games that Kiffin whiffs on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, he beats Georgia, that narrative changes in a damn hurry. But, yeah, I mean, I think that and at LSU are probably the only opportunities in the regular season where he'll have to kind of change that narrative.
Yeah, got to, man.
All right, then final one on my board here, Shane. It was the game when I came up with this idea. This is the one I wanted to do. Texas at Texas A&M, November 30th. Cousin Shane versus Cousin Mike. Good guys versus bad guys. Who you favoring in this matchup? Just get it over with. We know you're going to say damn Longhorn.
Oh, man. I want to go to this game so damn bad. Maybe we need to get back Billy on here and just get us a ticket down there and watch this one, because this is the one that I'm already anticipating. We talked about this one being one of the greatest games of this upcoming season. But when you talk about betting lines at this point, I think it'll be close. I think they'll favor Texas by, let's say, 3 field goals. Give me 9 Longhorns.
I'm trying to do math here. I'm like, where's he going with this? But I do. You go with Texas, and you better.
2 scores. Two scores.
I'm going A&M favored. I think A&M will be better this year than old Texas. I think Texas is in for a rude awakening when they come into the SEC, Shane, and November 30th. That'll be the best game in all of college football this entire season. We're getting the rivalry back. It's in College Station, like we were promised. So, there's going to be tons of pressure on Mike Elko and Steve Sarkisian to get a win. And hell, I don't care how many losses A&M gets. If they beat Texas, it's a good year. You know what I mean? Particularly if they can knock Texas out of an SEC or a college football playoff, it'll be even sweeter. And who knows? It could propel the Aggies to do just that. They could be sitting there with 2 or 3 losses. Texas could be undefeated. That it could be the game that propels A&M up the polls to get them in the playoff.
Oh, buddy, let's go. So many damn fireworks going off for this one, brother. It's a game. It's an anticipated game. But like you said, at the end of the season, there's going to be some there's going to be some opportunities lost here. Whether you're looking at maybe even Texas A&M making a push for the playoffs, or like you said, the Longhorns. You drop this game, you're out probably, because that's what the voters are going to think of.
Right. All right. Last thing, Shane, real quick before we hop offline. Don't forget, we got a ton of spring games this weekend. Mm-hmm. Very interested to watch all these. And just one or two things I'm very keen to watch. And again, we've heard Beamer. We've heard Elko and Lebby and Venable. I mean, all these guys are basically using this practice as a key piece of the spring, as they should, because these are programs that are far from ready made. So what will I be most interested in with South Carolina, Shane, is to me it's all about the offense. Without Spencer Rattler, without Xavier Legette, how do they look, and particularly on the line of scrimmage, with an emphasis on the offensive line, because they killed us last year. Let's just call it what it was. I mean, if we had a quality offensive line in Columbia last year, probably would have made a bowl game with what we had to work with. So, again, we're not going to get all the answers come Saturday, but I'll be very interested to see Sellers and Robbie Ashford and company playing in this offense. Because I think it's got to look a lot different than how it looked under Spencer Rattler. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, and that's certainly not a knock on Spencer Rattler, because I thought he was outstanding last year. But none of these guys are Spencer Rattler, obviously.
Right. No, I'm with you here. I think my focus is going to be a lot on the big boys up front. Like you said, that offensive line was horrific at times last year. So I want to see how they stack up. And then naturally, I want to see Sellers just finally given the reins. I know Touchdown Robbie's going to be back there, but, this is, I believe, Sellers' job to lose. And does he lose it, or at least lose a little interest this spring? So a lot of pressure on him. And I'm just looking forward to, like as Beamer says, it's when the lights turn on, is he a gamer? That's what we're looking for here.
Right. And then as for A&M, Shade, I think the critical thing for me is the secondary, because they were just in shambles at the end of last year. Players leaving, hitting the portal, going on to the NFL. They added 7 defensive back transfers. They added about 25 transfers, but they added 7 into defensive backfield. So I'm just very curious to see how far along that group has come. Mm-hmm. And again, we're not going to get full answers on Saturday, but I want to see if it's competent and really the defensive line too. I know they still got some studs on that defensive line, but they lost some really good players. So is it an elite line? Will it take a step back? Those are kind of the things I'll have my eye on in the spring game on Saturday.
A lot of new names, new faces, just kind of get acclimated with that. The fans are going to be there. It should be electric. But also, I want to just see the offense style. What's that going to look like? How are we going to try any up-tempo? What is the future of Texas A&M offense going to look like? Because that's been the biggest headache the last few years.
Right. All right, how about Texas? Weather permitting, of course.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we keep getting hyped up. We had somebody the other day say, Arch Manning, greatest quarterback of all time. How's he look? Sark says he's looking sharp. This will be an opportunity, a year into the program here, to really showcase, how far along he's come. So I'll be fascinated by that. Mm-hmm. And essentially, all the weapons around Quinn Ewers on the outside at tight end, starting running back, all gone to the NFL. Now, they hit the portal. They got all the guys they wanted, and they added 5-star receiver Ryan Wingo. So they got plenty of weapons to work with. But I just want to see how far along those guys are in Sarkisian's offense. It's not the easiest offense to just kind of learn and get implemented. So that'll be what I have my eye on, the weapons and really Arch Manning.
Yeah. No, it'd be good to see Arch. But I going back to the big uglies up front. That's been the knock on the Big 12. Is that they don't have the offensive defensive line to compete in the SEC. We've watched a lot of boys in action. We've seen Georgia. We've seen Tennessee. We've seen some of the elite programs as far as defensive line. How do they stack up? Is Texas as good as promised? So that's what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm. And then how about Oklahoma? I mean, obviously, Shade, offensive line. I mean, every time I hear an offensive lineman go into the portal, I see our guys over at Sooner Scoop saying, Oklahoma's interested. You know what I mean? Like, they are dying for offensive linemen. So how does that look? Jackson Arnold, the sophomore quarterback, how does he look? How ready does he look? And I fully anticipate the defense to dominate. If the defense does not dominate, I'll be a little concerned that maybe I'm overhyping them. So that's kind of what I'll have my eye on at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think Jackson would be the first one I'm going to be looking for. But again, young talent emerging. I haven't heard too many coaches talk, but the players, what I'm hearing is that they say, "Hey, have you checked out so and so? Have you checked out so?" It's like they're all pointing to each other. So, is there some young talent? Is there some names that are going to pop up here in the spring game that you're like, "Hey, this is going to be a dude to reckon with in the SEC"?
Right, and then last but not least, Mississippi State, first spring game under Jeff Lebby. I'm very interested to see this, Shane. Here's what I have written down for them. Quarterback, offensive line, running back, receivers, and tight ends, the entire offense. I mean, this roster is unrecognizable from what it was just 6 months ago. So many moving pieces. I just want to see how far along we are in this new offensive system under Jeff Lebby and a new exciting era of football. It's coming to Starkville, and this will be our first opportunity to see it showcased. I look for some fun. I look for a lot of deep passes, a lot of throwing the football down there.
I think fun's key, but also miscues is what I'm going to be looking for, Mike. I think about the Florida Gators last year in spring and how nasty and ugly that transitioned over to fall. Do we have some of these miscues out of the gate with the new coaches that, quite frankly, not ever done it? So
right.
What does that look like? But, yeah. Plus, just the fun and gun, man. Mississippi State's been boring to watch. No wonder they ain't expanded. You know what I'm saying? they want to add on to their stadium too, and they do that by winning some football games. So I want to see a little excitement there in that spring game.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, brother. Hey, that's all I got. Another great week of shows, and again, I do a horrible job promoting all this stuff, Shay, but we got another special interview coming Saturday night, so stay on the YouTube. That's a perfect plug for what Shane was talking. If you made it this far, like the video, subscribe to the video. We got a lot more interviews coming your way in studio featuring Cousin Shane. And we're working hard to try to get more. But you guys are going to really like the next couple that we have coming your way. So we got that premiering the next several Saturdays, but this Saturday will be a special one. You got anything else, brother, before we hop off the line?
No, man, it's awesome talk. And again, like you said, the YouTube. I really would like to hit that 20, man. That'd be awesome. So steal your loved one's phone, subscribe. They're probably like, they ain't even pay attention. Kids on YouTube, just subscribe, just get that in there.
Who are these two rednecks on my phone now,
I know, right, no. We're kind of like PG-13, so if they're like younger than that, maybe don't put them on there. But, yeah, still every electronic device you got, get that subscription in. It means a lot to us. When the live comes down, this will populate back on the show. So if you just see it, hit a like button. Takes 2 seconds, really does go a long way for us.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate each and every one of you, especially those that show up on the live show each and every time. Enjoy the football this Saturday. It's the last football we're going to get for several months. So take it all in and let's overreact next week. Can't wait.
Absolutely.